The New York Region 1 Parent Training and Information Center Collaborative Advocates for Children of New York, INCLUDEnyc, the Long Island Advocacy Center, and Sinergia, in partnership with Community Inclusion and Development Alliance, the Chinese American Planning Council, and the New York DeafBlind Collaborative, are proud to present Candid Conversations, Handing Over the Reins.
Part 3. A few words of advice.
We should have more support for people like me.
I feel like parents and any other adult should try to allow the kid to self-advocate for themselves when it comes to a point that they feel like it's right to self-advocate for themselves. It's not, I don't think as much as you can teach them and help them, you can't do it for them. Eventually, you're supposed to let them fly and try it themselves or let them do it on their own. Because as much as parents think that they can always be there, it's it's not always going to be that situation. It's not always going to be like you're going to be there for your kid, because it's going to be a time when your kid's not even going to be there for the parent to be there for them. So I feel like adults should allow kids to be able to self-advocate for themselves over continuously trying to self-advocate for their own kids.
Giving them some practice for like advocating for themselves, because you can't just like jump into a meeting and just completely like start advocating for yourself like on the spot. Like, you're gonna need a little bit of preparation before that. So I guess maybe giving them a little bit of preparation and just a little bit of like help. And then by the time it reaches, like, let's say maybe their IEP meeting or just a meeting in general that just talks about their disabilities, they'll be prepared enough to talk for themselves and not necessarily rely on others to talk for them.
What advice would you give someone who will be graduating or exiting high school in a year or so? What advice do you have for parents, professionals, or other adults trying to help self-advocates develop their skills?
Help them to develop their story. Question: who am I? And who do they want to be? And then I would also share another advice to help them feel comfortable about sharing their struggles, disabilities, and not be ashamed of anything, and find a sense of belonging and safe space. First, start asking about your transition plan early. It's supposed to start at the age of 14. And I'll be honest to say that now I know that a transition assessment exists. And in high school, I was never given a transition assessment. No one ever really talked to me about my goals, dreams, and interests. So ensure that you talk to someone about your goals, dreams, and interests. Really sit down and define what success looks like for you, because it's your life, and do what makes you happy. I remember, like, in middle school, in 8th grade, wanting to go to a trade school instead of a traditional high school, because I felt like learning the skills would help me towards my future. And my teacher and the school-based support team at the time encouraged me that I was capable of going to high school, and that's where I should go. But they didn't really ask me what where those thoughts came from, and why I felt the way I do, because they viewed me as a student that's doing pretty well academically, and they didn't never question the thoughts and reasons why I had the idea of going to trade school instead of a traditional high school.
To do what they think is right for them in their life and to follow their dreams no matter what obstacles, to keep strong and push through and follow their dreams and just do what you think is right for you in your life.
Open your mouth. Practice opening your mouth. Tell people what you like, what you don't like, in a nice way. Kindness kills.
Yeah, that's about it.
And so when you're kind and you get your point across without getting angry, but you're persistent about it. So perseverance and open your mouth. Be who you are and don't take less.
Well, for like parents, you know, I would say like if you want your children to learn ASL, that you should learn it as well. And then that would really help you to interact with them more. You know, for me, it's a little different because my parents already knew some sign language. So I am able to understand what they say. And it is important, you know, because I am hard of hearing. I would say, you know, to get like a actual like deaf interpreter or like a hearing interpreter. Maybe some hearing interpreters don't know sign that well. So maybe you could have a deaf interpreter who does know sign a lot better.
Enjoy that last part of your obligatory school career as much as you can, because it's going to be the last year of something that you're actually obligated to do. The rest of your life is your choice. Going to college is your choice. Let you choose what you want to study. So just think about it. Think about the fact that you're moving on to a new stage of your life. And if that's not something you want to think about, then don't. Just live in the moment. Be responsible and get done what you need to get done, but live in the moment as well. Listen to what they need. Like, let them have room to grow and work on their self-advocacy skills, but also like listen to them. If they're feeling like they're not mentally up to it someday, step in and like give them some encouragement or help them when they need it. Or if they tell you that they have it on their own, don't try to butt in if it's not something that they need your help with. Just listen to what they need.
What is one key idea or point that you want people to understand?
As much as self-advocacy is standing up for your voice, it shouldn't be used to silence others, because everyone has the chance to self-advocate for themselves, because everyone has their own opinion and everyone's human. So I feel like while self-advocacy is good for you to stand up for yourself and that your voice heard, don't use that voice to overshadow everybody else's voices, because you may not understand what the person was thinking at that moment, or you may not understand what other people go through, or why they advocate for themselves in different situations.
No matter really how much you can advocate for yourself, things may not necessarily go in your direction, like in your way. Like that happened to me multiple times. And yes, I do advocate for myself a good amount of times, many times. But that doesn't necessarily mean that I'm gonna get what I want or gonna get what I'm trying to get. And that there's always gonna be this constant battle that you're gonna have to try to get that end goal, but you may just not reach it in the first few, times you're advocating for yourself. Like then you cannot get in like the first few meetings. You're gonna end up having to talk for yourself for a long time, or maybe hopefully a short time. But it's never like a defined answer of how long it's gonna take for that to happen.
One key point or idea today that I would like to share with people to understand about the importance of advocacy is that advocacy is a life skill, and it should be taught to everyone with and without a disability from a very young age.
when people don't listen to your needs, always keep fighting back, keep speaking up, like advocate, keep talking to them. Do not give up. Don't be affected by the silence. Like you have to stand up for yourself. You're the one who's trying to break the barriers of what you need. Like you just have to speak up, email them or send letters or talk to the person who specializes in disability, and they'll always help you out.
Self-advocacy is most importantly for yourself, to make sure your quality of life is the best it could be. But also, while you're self-advocating for yourself, like I am for myself, I'm also advocating for millions of disabled people, whether they're physically disabled, they're IDD individuals. By advocating yourself, you teach people tolerance. And when you teach people tolerance, they might not look at the next disabled person any other way than they look at you. I had so many people tell me that after meeting me, they're kinder to other people. They don't automatically think that they can't speak for themselves. We have a perception that we are just, how do I say, we don't like mixing. We love mixing. We love, and I love, people having the knowledge. Ask me why I'm in a wheelchair. There's no such thing as a stupid or dumb question when knowledge comes. You want to ask me? Ask me. By you not asking me is ignorance on your level. And ignorance is not something that we tolerate.
Don't make the mistake to allow an outsider to have the conversation and the disclosure about your child disability. That is a conversation that parents, we should be ready to have with our kids and be there to support them, because many cases, the first reaction, it may not be the one that you're expecting, and it can be hurtful. But then you have the space and the love to support your child through that process. I think that is so important, especially at transition age, to have a conversation with your kids, to invite them to their IEP. Something that I have done, I have pulled out the reports, their evaluations, and say, let's gonna read it together. And I'm here to answer any question that you may have. That is crucial. I think it's very, very important for parents to be in charge of that. Don't assume that the school is gonna do it, because they're not. Legally, they're not gonna do it. Or don't avoid and say, oh, I don't wanna tell my kid that he has autism or he has X, Y, C, and D. I'm like, eventually they will know. I'm telling you, eventually they're going to know, and they're gonna go back to you and they're gonna say, why you did not say anything to me? So it's gonna create a problem, an unnecessary problem for you. So I strongly recommend parents, if you have not done this before, think about it. This is the time for you to do it. This is the time for you to ask your child to be at their IEP meeting. It's not optional, and they should be already doing this long time ago.
不同的孩子年龄的不同孩子的挑战跟需要就是说，说实话，对我们来讲可能是一辈子的事情，做好长期准备并不是说到时候长大了就没事了，然后我还要基本上没有看到过这样的情况孩子能力高能力低什么诊断都没有什么东西，所以我们家长就一定要一个很好的一个思想认识这第一个。第二个呢，要多看看其他孩子，尤其是比你孩子更长的、更大的孩子家长的过程，看看他们的 这个做对了什么，没有做对什么，看看他们将来的处境，很可能是将来你孩子自己的处境，所以你就可以早早的准备。所以我们这个还是这个很重要的，这是非常非常，这也是非常现实的。那么另外一个呢，非常想大家讲的就是说，我们华裔特别是要把这个脸面，要把这些我们一般来说都是有这种家丑不可外扬的这种习惯，特别是家里有一个残障的孩子，有很多的问题，很多让你难堪的问题，让你操心的问题。那么很多人呢，就是憋在家里不讲，你不讲了，人家就不知道，人家就不知道，人家不知道了以后，这个社会跟政府包括他们也不知道，对不对？所以他就很多方面呢，我们就很多的一些机会就丧失掉了。所以我们一定要敞开来，对大家毫不羞愧的、毫不掩饰的多讲讲，把自己遇到的问题、把难处都讲讲。因为你讲了多了，我们说会叫的孩子才会有奶吃，这就是美国社会的真理，就是你要会叫会闹，才有得到你希望得到的东西。你是整天放在家里，整天这个不想整天保持沉默，这个是你没有办法，你这个没有办法得到你应有的帮助的。所以这是我们特别希望跟很多华裔家长，尤其是有残障孩子家长呢，要鼓励大家站出来，勇敢的为自己的孩子呢谋取利益，一起规划好他们的人生。
Don't let the disability define your child or hold them back from opportunities. Try to let the child live a normal life, and sometimes that could mean going past their comfort level, where I can't do that because I'm scared, and sometimes you have to push a little and say, no, I'll be there, I'll help you, just try it. Because without that they wouldn't know what they're missing. It's either they like it or they don't, or want to try it again, or that's it. But having tried it once is you've done that. So pretty much just let your child live as normal a life as possible. It would be a disservice to your child, I think, to hold them back just because of your own fears or the way you see things. The way you see things may not be the same way the child sees things, vice versa. So that I think is very important. It might be small in the scope of things, but I think it's important, for the child's growth and development.
As a parent, what has been most helpful for me is remind myself to just show up. And what I mean by that is being compassionate with myself and taking comfort in knowing I'm doing the best I can. And that some days it's less than the day before or more, and that's okay too. And that often, no matter how much I do, I still may feel like it's not good enough, or no matter where he goes to school or what activities he's involved in, it's still not good enough. And reality is, I don't think anything will ever be good enough. And some of that is just rooted on fear. And that it's universal, and that if we can all be gentle with ourselves, and talk to ourselves the way that we would talk to our best friend in relation to parenting kids with involved needs and developmental disabilities, that it's all okay.
Have questions? Need help? Please feel free to reach out to us. Advocates for Children of New York, 866-427-6033, include NYC, 212-677-4660, Long Island Advocacy Center, 516-248-2222, Sinergia, 212-643-2840, extension 602. Chinese American Planning Council CPC, 718-224-8197, Community Inclusion and Development Alliance CIDA, 718-358-8899, New York DeafBlind Collaborative, 718-997-4856.
On behalf of the New York Region 1 Collaborative and our fellow partners, thank you for watching.